Oh. Oh. You scared me. I didn't see you there. Come on, everybody loves these intros, right? Yeah!
Hey, JonTron! Big fan. How's it going?
I'm not JonTron. Who are you?
Who, me? Oh, my name is Wilk Chamberlain. I'm with Zenny Games.
Wilk Chamberlain? Did you mean Wilt Chamberlain? You know, like the basketball player?
No, Mr. Hancock. I mean Wilk, as in the Kashubian word for wolf. Yeah, John? Can I call you John?
I get this all the time. No, I'm not John Hancock either.
Well, then who the heck am I talking to here?
My name's Mike. I run a channel called Dongled.
Oh, okay. The dude you hasn't started that game yet guy. Right. Big fan of your channel. You're with that Metal Noah Rules crew or something like that, right?
No, but okay, let's get to the point. This skit has already lost me 6 subscribers. What do you want?
Well, we loved your review of Celeste for the PS4. Great little indie game. And so we decided we wanted to toss you a free game code so that you could download and try out our brand new game that we're publishing that is based on, slightly influenced by, Star Wars. And it's a fighting game.
I appreciate the offer, but for starters, I've never reviewed Celeste, and second off, there's already been a game like that.
Oh no, I don't mean that stinker, the Masters of Karos Takai game. No, it's something much more improved from that.
Nope, I wasn't talking about that one. I was talking about Plasma Sword on the Dreamcast.
The importance of Capcom's fighting games during the 1990s has long been documented. Games like Street Fighter II defined a genre that would see Capcom, as well as other developers, create dozens of like-minded one-on-one fighters that could be considered part of the 90s boom of Japanese fighting games. Developers like SNK, Midway, Data East, Namco, Tecmo, Konami, and more would chase after Capcom's cash cow with 2D and 3D fighters, producing mixed results. But nobody did Capcom fighters better than Capcom, a fact that was later proven in their team-up with Marvel Comics. The developers were huge fans of properties like X-Men, so the joint venture proved fruitful for both parties and fans alike. But when it came time for Capcom to turn their attention to other companies' IPs outside of Disney and Marvel, Capcom struggled to catch attention. A failed pitch to create a licensed Star Wars fighting game led Capcom down the path of creating their own space opera-inspired sci-fi fighting romp that drew many parallels to other games like Rival Schools and Darkstalkers. The finished product? A 3D fighter on a 2D plane called Star Gladiator Episode 1 Final Crusade. This was released in 1996 for the arcade and Sony PlayStation. Capcom went above and beyond with this one, as it utilizes the ZN1 arcade hardware that's built off of PlayStation's architecture, which made porting to the Sony PlayStation much easier. Could the Sega Saturn handle this game? It's hard to say, as many of the games that were released using the ZN1 hardware were more 3D based, something that Sony's PlayStation excelled at. While the Sega Saturn did have some fantastic 3D fighters like Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, and even Battle Arena Toshinden, Sega missed out on getting Star Gladiator's first entry on their console. Hey, wait a second, why is it called Star Gladiator Episode 1 Final Crusade? Isn't that kinda like renaming A New Hope into The Last Hope?
Actually, that has a good ring to it. Oh shoot, I just lost another subscriber. Quick, somebody subscribe to the... No! Dude, I forgot you're not supposed to ask people to subscribe, otherwise they'll unsubscribe. Oh well.
The first Star Gladiator had a shift from the usual 6-button controller layout into something that more closely resembled Dead or Alive or Soul Calibur in terms of simplicity. A light attack button called vertical slash, a medium attack button called horizontal slash, a kick attack, and a defensive button. Much like Soul Calibur, getting knocked off the stage makes one lose a round, something that was an exclusive to this game in the series. And yes, you can follow your opponent and still get a win, leading to some hilarious ring-outs. The basic concept of the story is set in the year 2348. There's this evil doctor named Edward Bilstein, who discovers that humanity's supposed sixth sense is actually something called plasma power, to which he creates a device to harness it. Despite money and power coming his way because of the creation, he later is banished from Earth due to using it to experiment on humans. 4 years later, Bilstein shows up, as one does, in a brand new cyborg body after breaking out of the prison he was held in on a planet called Zeta. He goes on the attack against the Earth, now heading up a group of bad guys known as the Fourth Empire. The governments on Earth decide that anyone who can harness this plasma power for the good of mankind is worth sending into the fight against Bilstein. And this is Star Gladiator Episode 1.
Honestly, that's really all you need to know.
Star Gladiator, in all honesty, is the blueprints for Plasma Sword. The stages in Star Gladiator have a bit more going on in the background than Plasma Sword, and the graphics overall look big and booming, with nice clear shots of the characters despite the lack of fluid motion. However, this game is stiff when it comes to movement and animation, overall coming across as lacking in almost every way aside from the backgrounds. There's only 8 initial characters to choose from, with several more unlockable. You're probably looking at some of these characters scratching your head going, hey, some of these look familiar. The 2 that got the most shelf life outside of this series are lead character Hayato, playable in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and secondary lead character June, who was a playable character in the excellent Project X Zone 2 on the 3DS.
But look, if you've never heard of Star Gladiator beyond that, don't feel too bad. It appears you're not the only one.
Nintendo Life did a poll in 2022 asking which dormant franchise fans would like to see return from Capcom's library, and the series got, no, that's not possible, 0%? Hold up. The Xbox mech game Steel Battalion got 1% over Star Gladiator? Yo, that's just cold. How are you guys gonna do Star Gladiator like that? This brings us to the evolution of Sony's ZN1 hardware, called the ZN2. Though the tech still awarded several games like Rival Schools and Strider 2 to the PlayStation, games like Techromancer and today's game Plasma Sword made their way to Sega's newest hardware for unknown reasons. Perhaps the PlayStation couldn't handle the processing power? I'm not sure. But with the PlayStation nearing the end of its life, Capcom began serving up some incredible fighting games onto Sega's final hardware release. When it came time to create a new Star Gladiator, Capcom abandoned the idea of taking on Namco's Soul Edge Soul Calibur series head-on, instead making significant changes for their sequel that fit more in line with their own franchises. On April 10, 2000, Capcom released Plasma Sword: Nightmare of Bilstein to North American markets. Released in Japan as Star Gladiator 2 with the same subtitle as its North American counterpart, Plasma Sword aimed to be one of the flashier 3D fighters on the system. While some would say it wasn't as awe-inspiring as Soul Calibur or party-centric as Power Stone, Plasma Sword sits somewhere in the middle of the Dreamcast fighting game library. Right from the opening, we're kicked into a high-octane space opera complete with rockin' tunes, gorgeous art, and smooth frame rates. Plasma Sword offers an arcade, versus, and training mode, as well as a group fight option. The versus and training modes are what we've come to expect from a Capcom fighter of this generation: 1 versus 1 fights, and the ability to prepare for these battles via the training mode. So instead, I'd like to focus on 2 different sections: arcade and group fights. In arcade mode, you'll be able to play 8 rounds of fights with a story break during the 5th round. The character selection screen showcases a total of 22 characters to pick from. 2 of the characters from Star Gladiator did not return: the dinosaur creature Rimgal and the humanoid turtle named Kappa. However, this list of 22 is a bit deceptive. What Capcom mostly did was take the 10 main playable characters and create reskins with new profiles and different super moves. On the character selection screen, the top row are mostly just returning characters from Star Gladiator. Hayato, the plasma sword-wielding main character and boyfriend of June, an Asian woman who uses a plasma ring, and the power of gymnastics. Saturn, the green-skinned cone-head goofball with an appreciation of Michael Jackson. The Chewbacca of the group named Gamoth. Geralt, who fights with a fencing sword and who looks like a dead ringer for Street Fighter III's Dudley. Beefed up soulless robot Omega. Zelkin, a bird of war. No, not those birds of war. He hails from planet Klondike, which almost certainly has a tasty outer shell, but is insanely cold in the middle. Gore, who kind of resembles Yoda with a giant brain, along with ex-brainwashed reformed good guy, Blood. Finally, we have the physical embodiment of the ghost of Big Bad Bilstein. Right underneath him is his second attempt at life, in a newly reformed body, Bilstein. Wait, is it Bilstein or Bilstein?
Bilstein.
Ooh, that's rough that they didn't think that pronunciation through. What? Why? Because they didn't realize 23 years later I'd say, Bilstein, the science guy! Bill! You know, this is making me want to reconsider my offer.
The rest of the heroes are a fun variety of vague copycats like Prince, Eagle, and Shaker, to generic soldiers like Gantetsu or Claire. B. Hayato's existence is just confusing in general. He's apparently a clone or some sort of totally separate character, despite the backstory stating that Bilstein implanted a chip in the original Hayato to turn him into B. Hayato? I don't get it. Ellie is the daughter of Hayato and June, though it's unclear why she traveled to the past. Maybe to save her parents so she'd have a future? Rain has an interesting backstory as she's Bilstein's daughter. He wants to steal Hayato's, baby makers and put them inside Rain so she can give birth to a new race of plasma-wielding beings? Wait, what? But her true ending just has her enslaving all the men in the game. Okay. Luca's story is kind of wild as well, with her being an alien girl created by Gore in a sort of weird science kind of plot where he's engaged to his own creation, but then she ends up killing him in her true ending when she realizes that she's not human? Like, what is this nonsense? In general, most fighters have pretty nonsensical stories and plots, just due to all the alternate events that don't sync up into one cohesive story, so it's just best to not pay much attention to the backstory on these characters. Which is great, because the arcade mode is a fantastic way, outside of training, to learn how the game rewards the best endings. In previous Capcom fighters, getting true endings for a character was quite difficult. You had to either be insanely good at the game on a super high difficulty setting or just not die. However, Plasma Sword does away with this by having players focus on doing super finishers or plasma finishers to gain battle points. I scoured the internet to try to find an exact number of battle points one would need to get the true endings, and I came up empty. So I rolled the dice and just tried my best and actually unlocked several endings, which have you play against one more character to get the true finish. Controls in Plasma Sword really opened up the floodgates to casual fighting game fans. Gone is a dedicated button to block, instead just relying on the old method in Capcom fighters, which requires one to hold the back button, depending on the direction you're facing. The A button rotates your character in an effort to dodge attacks, and it can be done forward and backwards as well, with X and Y being horizontal and vertical slashes, and B being a kick button. Combos can be engaged as usual with either a jump in attack or just chaining buttons together, though these rarely get higher than 4 to 6 hits without starting a super move. Up remains the jump button, though certain characters can jump twice in the air, like secret hidden character Ryan. The other secret character, a girl named Kaede, can be triggered using a code just like Ryan can in the character selection screen. I think the thing that makes this game feel casual friendly are the special finishers and plasma field. By pressing the slash buttons together, along with the quarter circle forward or quarter circle back motions, all players can perform one of 2 unique special moves that, if connecting when a player has low life, will count as a special finisher and gain battle points. This can also be triggered with the earlier mentioned motion along with the right trigger instead. It's the same for the plasma field, which is triggered by either pressing the kick and horizontal slash buttons or the left trigger. This surrounds your character with a grid, which, if it hits your opponent, will surround them in a field, allowing you to unleash your superpowered attack. However, this isn't an ultimate destruction move. Opponents can wiggle their way out of it with dodges, and they can even hit the person who triggered the plasma field. Leaving fights so open-ended like this makes for some really exciting matches. It's honestly stuff like this I miss from modern fighters that are so stiff and rigid with play schemes. I also love that if you spam too much of the special attacks, the game tells you that you're being cheap.
Oh, you mean like griming out? Yeah? Wait, I'm not the only one who calls abusive repetitive chip damage griming out? Who knew?
There's some other little nuanced things about the controls in this game. Pressing down 3 times with certain characters either makes them lay on the ground or power up their weapons. Bilstein's triple down makes him not able to be moved for a short period of time. Pressing the vertical slash and dodge button at the same time together will trigger a counter move similar to the plasma field, where you have to catch the other player in it. Pressing just the horizontal and vertical slash buttons with no direction does a throw move for devastating damage as well. I really love the controls in this game. They're easy to learn, not difficult to master, and when playing versus mode, it was very easy for me to explain to my human opponents how to play in a very short amount of time. Speaking of multiplayer, the versus mode is pretty cut and dry as we said before, one-on-one matches. But the group matches are one of the highlights of this game outside of the arcade mode. Choosing up to 5 characters, this mode gives the option to either heal the victor of each match fully, making the health refill based on time left over, or nothing at all. I played around with all 3 options, with the full heal being a major handicap to the victor of the first match. It's not impossible to turn it around, but honestly we had more fun with the no heal option.
Alright, so I'm getting the feeling like you're not interested in promoting our games. How about a YouTube sponsorship? A sponsorship? What do you mean, like one of those manscaping things? Exactly! We can make... you can make lots of money off of this stuff with us. Yeah, I don't know. Money's not really an issue for me. Oh, okay. The $100 that you're making off of ads off of YouTube is good for you for the year? Okay. I'll take this backpack of money and, well, I mean, you know, this is just a hobby for me. I don't do this professionally. This is just something I do for fun, just as a creative outlet. And, oh, hold on. How much money are we talking? Manscaping. Everyone's doing it, right? Wait, no, don't skip ahead. I know you don't want to watch this, but I need the ad revenue. Please don't skip ahead. Wait, turn off your ad blocker. You're gonna trigger an ad. Or nothing, because you didn't turn off your ad blocker. And we're back. Manscaping. Hey, the last thing that you'd want to see in a video game review, right? Well, now you're wrong, because today, I'm going to show you the best combination between manscaping and the Sega Dreamcast with the brand new Manscapecast. Yes, that's right. You combine the manscaping kit with your Sega Dreamcast, totally fully compatible in the VMU slot. And once you put it in, you turn the power button on and... Wait, no. Okay, I don't think it's supposed to feel that way. Oh God! No! Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass.
Plasma Sword runs better than it looks. The frame rate and animations are buttery smooth, and I really love all the little touches here that give the game a truly amazing personality. From Saturn's moonwalking to Gentetsu's giant comic book font during a special smash, and Omega's almost pop and lock robotic movements, this really feels like a proper representation of 2D details in a 3D game. I just wish the backgrounds didn't take a step backwards. Though the stage rotates, it's just a flat static image with no real depth behind it. There's also a lot of shading issues that make certain levels force shadows across players' faces, which doesn't help the fact that the face models on these characters are very bland and derpy in most cases. This plays better than it looks, which is a shame, as Star Gladiator did a much better job with far less processing power. Despite the game not looking great, the music is a true winner here. Plasma Sword's soundtrack pumps up the intensity with chuggy metal and slammin' techno beats that really channel Capcom's usual musical flair. Composed by Takayuki Iwai and Tetsuya Shibata, these two ditch the more classical movie score aspects from the first game in favor of making it sound like a Capcom fighter, and it pays off in the end. Here's just a few of my favorites. Plasma Sword has a lot to like about it, and a few things that bring it down in quality. Fun factor is through the roof, and there are plenty of characters, though admittedly most are just palette swaps with some slight differences here and there. The game runs fantastic, which makes up for the bland backgrounds, faces, and awkward shadows in certain levels. It's got a fun group fight and arcade mode that does a good job of attracting casual fighting game fans like myself. When taking a second look at this game all these years later, making Plasma Sword more accessible really helped it stand out from other fighting games at the time, along with a top-notch soundtrack that will have you humming the themes for days. Though the world of gaming has mostly forgotten Capcom's Plasma Sword, I hope one day gamers revisit this obscure but exciting example of a fighter that only misses the mark in a few areas, but is an overall joy to play.
Alright. One more opportunity, and I think you're gonna like this one. Alright, I'll bite. What is it? We create a bunch of bots to make them pose as you, to give away fake prizes and steal people's information.
No, that sounds horrible, and how do you even make money from that?
You'd be surprised.
Can I just get back to reviewing the game in peace?
Well, since we loved your Chrono Trigger review, we were thinking that maybe we could do
alright,
something
that's
with
it.
algorithm.
I'm done with this guy.
Maybe you could
Time for a
chase
plasma
around
field.
thinking that, oh, the plasma shield move. That's gonna be an Phew! Thank goodness. That guy was clueless. Besides, everybody knows if you want to get big on YouTube and start making coin, you know what you gotta do. You gotta talk about the Nintendo Switch! Yeah, buddy!
Thanks to all Patreon members, but especially the Morningstar Whip tier and up. They are Bryce, Nintendo, Venthros, Great White North Presents, Technicolor Dojo, Sam Schaefer, Scott McElhone, Trevin Adams, and Derek Demitter. Your support really helps with each and every review. If anyone is watching this and wants to help, feel free to join in the link below. For those who want to help in other ways, sharing the review on your social media really means a lot, as my channel has and always will be sponsored by viewers like you. Thanks for watching. Want more Dude You Haven't Played This Game? Check out the videos on the screen. Or head to my channel and grab the full playlist of reviews and retrospectives. I'll see you on the next Dude You Haven't Played This Game.